Been a bit of a slow news week, hasn't it? For United fans, at least, right? We're not in the FA Cup, so I don't know if you guys have been watching a lot of the FA Cup, but that's going on today. We're just kind of all watching at home. Slow news week, of course, unless you count, batshit crazy comments from owners of United. Not going to dive into that. You guys can have your opinion on what you want, but not much going on, but we're going to chat about the latest and greatest Manchester United news anyway. This is the Manchester United News Roundup. This is United versus everybody. I am your host, Sean. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. It's nice and sunny out this weekend for me, up in like the high 40s, which for depending on what it's been for you, but for me, it's been cold. So we're happy to see that. But we're going to talk the latest and greatest news, a little under 18s Manchester Derby news, all sorts of stuff, you guys. So let's get stuck in. I want to know your thoughts. Welcome back, everybody. This is your first time. Please do make sure you let us know where you're watching from. Get involved in the chat. I want to know where the community's coming from. I love to see the community growing. We are just a few subscribers away from 3K subs. Would love to maybe get there through this video. That would be excellent, but I can only do that with your help, you guys. So I believe in you. You guys are legends. How's everybody doing today? Let me see who's involved in the chat so far. Danny B's in the house. Big up, Danny. Hope you're doing well, man. Yes, do hit that like button as well. That does help the channel reach more people. The algorithm grabs a hold of it, and we get the community growing. So let's dive into some news. Starting off, let's get some of the bad news out of the way first. Starting with some news on a loanee, a youngster, because Toby Collier's loan at Hull City has hit a little snag, albeit perhaps a predictable one, but he has suffered a hamstring injury that could keep him out until early March. Now, I know a lot of people, when we talk about midfield, when we talk about our depth and our squad and everything, I've seen some people still mention Toby Collyer. And I know I've been very, very critical, but it has nothing to do with his ability, I think. And you guys have known, if you watch this channel for a long time, you know I rate Collyer as a player. I think he's got really good reading of the game. He wants to get involved. His positioning is top-notch for a young player, but he's just been injured so much. You guys remember he went to West Brom on loan and was injured as well. He made about 12 appearances. He's 22 years old too. I think people think he's young because he's, was from the academy. He's 22 years old, but made like a dozen appearances for West Brom, but again, got a calf injury. And so that didn't last. He joined Hull in January. We recalled him from West Brom loan. Joined Hull in January, and again, just more injuries. The guy just cannot stay fit for the life of him, unfortunately. And he made it. So I think he did play for Hull. I think it was a loss not that long ago. It was like maybe a week ago or so as a sub, but just, again, hamstring. And this is why I pushed back when people suggested let's rely on him for midfield depth. Again, nothing personal, but he's always injured. Like, let me look up Collier's injury history here. So, guy's been injured a bit. I mean, he was here. He made a handful of appearances under Ten Hag, I believe. So, 24-25 season, he missed 14 games for United, a total of almost 65 days he missed in 14 games. And then just this year, he's already missed 12 games. And so he's literally missed as many games already this season as he did the entirety of last season, Toby Collyer. It's just, I mean, again, it's not personal. It's Shaw, it's Mount, it's Phil Jones, it's Martial. He's picking up injuries left and right, and he unfortunately can't be relied upon. But what are you going to do? Danny says Collyer is finished, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm thinking that this guy, I mean, I worry about his career. I worry about his career as a footballer. He might, if he were smart, and then maybe that's harsh to put it that way, if he were wanting to maybe just be proactive and prepare for maybe a bit of injury proneness, he would maybe start looking at like coaching badges or something like that, sports directorship. Because like Phil Jones just graduated with like sports directorship degree from the PFA. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of footballers who are literally, while they're still playing, go and take their coaching badges. And there's nothing wrong with preparing for that. So by the time you're done playing, you're ready to go. You're well on your way to interning at like Ruben Amorim did under Jose, like things like that. So the Bossies in that house says go. United never died. Corny, you're funny, man. um, and Danny's going with Dan Gore, better all around. Yeah, man, whatever happened to Dan Gore? I know he got his little bit of his start in preseason under Ten Hag, right? And then he picked up an injury. I think he's had a couple injuries as well. Where is he at now? Dan Gore. Let me look up where this guy is. So he's at Rotherham United right now. Let me look at his injury history real quick. Dan Gore injury history. So I feel like he's had his fair share of injuries. Well, and we've had a lot of unfortunate injury hit youngsters. Like Ethan Laird was a guy that I was super excited about. Twanzebe is another one I think could have been great. So yeah, Dan Gore missed a lot of time with a shoulder injury. 10 matches, almost 200 days back in 23-24. He really needs to kind of just get some minutes, get some momentum, get some matches under his belt, I think. Dabasi wants to. We'll come back on Wednesday because Dylan and I are going to be doing a 200 million pound rebuild this summer. Dylan and I are playing director of football. He's got his picks. I've got my picks. And we're going to see what we need to do. So come back on Wednesday with your picks for that one as well. I did put a post in the community section of the channel. If you guys wanted to get your thoughts in, I just asked a simple question. Like if you had 200 million to spend, what would you spend it on? And that's what we do. So keep that in mind. But yeah, we'll come back for that one. Danny thinks that Gore is too good for League One. Well, it's good to get him minutes. It's probably tougher than obviously playing in the academy, but obviously he's not ready for Premier League. How old is Dan Gore anyway? Because Collier is 22, like I said. Dan Gore is 21. Yeah, they're getting to that age where you're starting to really see what they're about, I think. Because 21, you should be in and around the match day squad for a club, And if you're going to be ready for United, I mean, James Garner was playing over at Watford and Forest and whatnot around similar age, 2021. You kind of get the feeling. I wish we would have kept James Garner, but what you gonna do, man? Dabasi says I like Birmingham's left wing Omar. Yeah, I was watching a little bit of Birmingham's match earlier, just against Leeds. Went to Pens, so fair play to Birmingham for forcing it to go all the way to Pens. They're obviously, you could tell the levels. I mean, Leeds aren't great, but there's still a big gulf there. Unfortunately, and that's part and parcel for the course among the different levels in the football pyramid in England. You can definitely see the levels. Like Arsenal played Wigan earlier, and it was like 4-0 in the first half. And it's just the way. And Arsenal weren't even playing like their top players, so it's just there's levels to it. It is what it is. I do love the FA Cup. I do like the Carabao Cup, but and while I do like that these games are played, at the lower clubs' grounds, I think that that's fair in terms of parity. It's just the levels are just not quite there. But let me know what you think about Toby Collyer. You still think he's got a United future? Do you think that that's just it for his career? Do you think that maybe we could get a little money for him? Some of you might still rate him. Some of you might say, no, he can be here. But you guys know that with Shaw, Mount, Martial, Phil Jones, even these guys, I'm just kind of over injury-prone players. Can't be relied upon to stay fit. Again, it's nothing personal. I'm not blaming players for their injuries. There's not really a whole lot that they can do about it for the most part. But at the end of the day, it's just I have to have that same standard. So, but too bad for Collier. I mean, another loan spell, or another injury hit. So, moving on, let's talk about some transfer news, you guys, because we've got some news here. Obviously, you guys saw the thumbnail. I'm going to preface this by saying I don't put much stock in some of these sources, but we're going to talk about them because I'm mostly curious about your thoughts on centerbacks because we have been linked to a couple centerbacks. So starting with a report from Bild that United have Nico Schlotterbeck on their short list for centerbacks. Don't know if you guys watch a lot of the Bundesliga. Don't know if you guys followed anything about Schlotterbeck. Now, I don't put much stock in Bild as a reliable source personally. But what are your thoughts on Nico Schlotterbeck? I featured him in a video way back when Licha got his ACL injury. Remember, I did a Licha replacement video. I looked at a lot of left-footed, aggressive, physical, ball-playing center backs, and Schlotterbeck ticks all those boxes. He's a physical, aggressive, ball-playing center back. He's got a really good passing range. I do feel like he is a bit of a red card waiting to happen sometimes. Not in the sense of like like Christian Romero is a red card waiting to happen. But he's got that Sergio Ramos kind of vibe where he's aggressive and he's got that fight, but it is a little bit more controlled. Whereas Sergio Romero or Christian Romero, you're like, what are you doing, dude? Like that was just an idiot like a bonehead move. Um, so he's got that kind of Sergio Ramos kind of mentality. Dylan and I discussed obviously some of this last week when it came to center backs. You know, when the topic of Harry Maguire getting a new contract extension, and maybe taking a wage cut came up. But what are your thoughts on Schlotterbeck in general as a center back? Again, I don't think we're going for center backs this summer. Again, Bild is not a great source. It's basically the German equivalent of the Sun, if you guys know anything about the Sun. So it's basically a tabloid. It's been around for a while, but it's, again, so is the Sun. So it's kind of a tabloid. Let's see. Danny says we have plenty of academy players. Thwaites, Fitzgerald, Kone, Orozco, Fletchers. Yeah, we've got a lot of midfielders. We'll talk about Thwaites a little later on. So you guys, in case you guys watch the under-18 Manchester Derby, we'll be talking about that. Danny says, don't think we pay wages. He will get else. So what is he on right now? Let's see what Schlotterbeck is on at the moment. Good old Capology. Where are you, buddy? Oh, he's got 2 years left, so he's going to be entering the final year of his contract soon. He is currently on about 90,000 euros a week with 22,500. So he's on about 113,500 per week in euros. What's that in pounds? Looking at about 97 points. So about 98,000 a week he's on right now. And he's got 2 years left on his contract. So 98,000 is not bad. You'd probably have to pay him more than that. But if Upamecano's leaving Bayern, I mean, you got to think this has got a Bayern situation. I mean, maybe Liverpool, maybe he can go replace Virgil van Dijk. Who knows? Yeah, I did see Romano talking about Tapsoba a little bit. I did a scouting report. It was one of my first scouting reports, if you guys remember, when we did the rating, my hit or miss on my old scouting reports. Before I did the channel, before I was working with Stretty News, I had my own kind of blog, scouting report blog. And Tapsoba was one of the earlier players that I scouted. I thought he would be kind of off to bigger and better things. I know he was linked to Barcelona for a hot second. I think we were linked to him for a hot second. I really like Tapsoba, but yeah, I saw Romano's video just before I went live saying he might be leaving this summer, but he's very, very good defender. Tapsoba. Burkina Faso. Not many. It's funny when you can list players from countries not many people are like familiar with the players, so you can be like, yeah, Burkina Faso, Edmund Tapsoba, guys. Let's see here. Yeah, Danny remembers me talking about it. Big up. But yeah, I don't know what you guys think about Schlotterbeck personally. I like him. I just don't really think that Bild is a super reliable source. He's not the only center back we've been linked to recently. So we've also been linked with Juventus defender Pierre Kalulu. He's popped up in the rumor mill as well. United scouts reportedly watching him this weekend, along with Inter left wingback Federico Di Marco. You guys remember, if you've been following the channel for a while, there was a time where I really wanted DeMarco as my Luke Shaw replacement. This would have been well over about a year and a half ago when Shaw was getting all his injuries again. I was like, it's time to look for Shaw replacements. I did a video. We went through like 5 or 6. I don't remember how many. Federico Di Marco was on my list. He was a bit of a pipe dream because this was this was the season before Inter went to the Champions League final. So back when he was good. That final was a shit show. But he is very good. He's 28. He is the left wing back. So and if you look at his heat map and whatnot, it's kind of like Frimpong. He is definitely more of a attack-minded left wing back than a defensive-minded left wing back. And so this maybe play him on the wing, the left wing. I don't know. But if we had someone like if Jose were still in charge, if Conte were here, if Tuchel were here, I think he would be exactly the kind of player that those managers would look for on that left-hand side, like when Jose brought Ivan Perisic to Spurs, things like that. Or maybe it was at Conte, sorry. That's the kind of situation. I just don't see us going for a 28-year-old on the left wing. And I don't rate him as highly defensively as a left back. And what is that going to do with Dorgu? Is Dorgu going to push to the wing? Like, I don't know. I don't really see much in it personally, but apparently we had scouts. It's hard to lie about United having scouts someplace. It's just a question of who we're watching. We're watching Kalulu play for Juve. We were watching DeMarco play for Inter. I don't know. Again, I don't see us getting a center back this summer, especially if we're going to be maybe offering Maguire a new contract, because that means we've already got 5 first-team center backs. I just don't see it. Unless there's something more sinister going on with De Ligt's back, I can't see us doing it. And even then, what would be the point of spending money on someone like Kalulu, someone like or giving them the way or Schlotterbeck or paying the wages if they're not going to start? You don't, in my opinion, you don't pay that much, and you don't pay a player that much if they're not going to be starting. You can argue, well, we want depth, but it's just wasting money at that point. Unfortunately, we've got Euro, who we paid a lot of money for, Heaven, who I trust as well. Those, I think, can be the 3rd and 4th choice center backs. Obviously, I think for me, it would be Licha and De Ligt if everyone's fit. Some people might throw Maguire in there. It's really up to you. What are you guys saying here? Big up here. My grab here. Danny says, take a gamble on Charlie Hughes. We did a scouting report on Charlie Hughes not that long ago, if you guys remember. Hull. I think he was been injured a little bit because I don't think he played recently. There is another player at Hull that I might be talking about for my 200 million rebuild video, so keep an eye on for that. But Charlie Hughes, another good physical center back. I really like to look at him a lot. Charlie Cresswell, Dan, I remember you mentioned him not that long ago. JSN, the cool kid, welcome back, says I'd rather have Ousmane Diomande. A lot of people, no, I'm thinking about Yan Diomande. There's a lot of good players out there. Hold on a second. Let me check and see what we're looking at here. Oh, we're talking about the center back, Ousmane Diomande. Yeah. No, we were linked to him when Amorim was here. A lot of good stuff. Gonçalo Inacio, also another one too. There's a lot of midfielders and center backs. I feel like there are so many available right now. You should, and that's why I mean, like, you shouldn't have to go and spend a ton of money on a midfielder or a center back, because there's a lot, and a lot of them are very are equally as good as one another. There's a couple obviously that stand out. Like, in my opinion, I think Anderson is a level above some of the other options. But there's a lot of options. The one options that you don't have a lot of right now are going to be like strikers. Maybe left wingers. There's not a ton of like wingers out there right now, in my opinion, that are available. And I'm not spending 100 million on Yan Diomande. That's ridiculous. After one season, not going to happen. But yeah, Ousmane Diomande, good ball playing, good physical. So he's very young too, but good shout. Let's see here. Danny says, get rid of Maguire, Shaw, get top left center back that can play left back. I mean, that isn't that what Kokonki is basically, or Heaven? Shaw, I mean, I would sell him personally if somebody came in with an offer. I think a lot of people, I think personally that we'll probably just extend Harry Maguire's contract and then focus on center backs in another year. Maybe you get a right back, maybe you get a fullback, maybe you get a center back, and then focus on that. See what Licha and De Ligt's fitness situations are at that point as well, and then probably rebuild from there, because we've still got Heaven, we've still got Euro as well. I don't have a problem with that. I'd rather have us go hard in the midfield and maybe get a fullback and a left winger as well, and then we can focus on the rest of it. But again, you never know what could happen. I mean, Mount could go this summer, and then what do we do with the 10 and stuff? So, yeah, we do need top center backs in general. I mean, we've got 5 on, like, and then you put yourself in an awkward position where, like, let's say we go buy an Ousmane Diomande. Well, now we've got 6, and now we've got to get rid of some, and now we're going to get our pants pulled down. So it's a hard game to play when you're managing this transfer market. But I agree, we do need solid defenders. I think that it's just going to be about priorities, and I do think midfield is the priority. We need like minimal 2 midfielders. I'd argue you need 3, because I do want someone who can rotate in with Kobbie Mainoo, whether that's a young player from the academy or someone older who, kind of like when Christian Eriksen came in, someone who's experienced, someone who is a bit more of a playmaker, a little bit more kind of seasoned and has that kind of composure and that playmaking. Someone maybe like a Patrick Berg or something like that can come in and rotate a little bit with Mainoo, take over here and there when we need him to. Think someone like that, I think, could be a good option in midfield as well. But we do need a Ugarte upgrade. We do need a Casemiro replacement, in my opinion, as well. Yeah. And then there are a lot of defenders who are going to be entering the final year of their contract as well. So like Jan-Paul Van Hecke will be entering the final year of his contract coming up in the summer. He would be someone that, if Maguire were to go, if De Ligt can't stay fit, I think he would be someone that I would push up to the top of my list and go get. I think he's an excellent defender. He's 26-ish or so. I think he's kind of in that prime area of his career. But then what do you do with Euro? And another year, is Euro going to be ready or not to be starting full time? And then you've got another dilemma. It's hard to think in the here and now. It's hard to ignore market opportunities while also being mindful of the strategy, the plan. You want to make sure you stick to the plan, but you also want to have a little bit of wiggle room in case there are opportunities that arise. And so it's a delicate little balance to find, but it's there someplace. Debasi likes Yildiz. Yeah, I like Yildiz. I just don't like his price tag. And yeah, if you sign a new contract, I mean, good luck with that. So 200 million doesn't go a long way, especially when you're looking at priorities. Like, I would be pushing hard for a top midfielder first, and then I'd be worried about something else after that. But that's why you got to get creative. Maybe look at free contracts that are up in the summer. Which, spoiler alert, you might see some of in Wednesday's kickabout. Dana's going 2 mid, center back, fullback, left wing, and knees. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be starting Mazraoui on the right if it were up to me personally. And then the question mark is just who's in charge on the touchline and where do they see Dorgu playing, right? Do you want Dorgu as a left wing or do you want him as a left back? And the question is, you're looking at what's out there. Are there left backs out there that you like better than Dorgu as a left back, or are there left wingers that you like better than Dorgu as a left winger? And then you want to maybe prioritize that. But I do think, Dorgu is still young, so maybe he rotates. JSN says, how many do you count as defenders in the team? Because I'm confused when you say 6. Well, I would say 6. I mean, if you signed Ousmane Diomande. So you've got Licha, De Ligt, Euro, Heaven, Maguire. That's 5. Shaw can play left center back, and he has played left center back several times. If you do go back to a back 3 for some reason, Mazraoui can play that. But again, if you sign Diomande, then that's 6 center backs. Plus, you've got Kokonke in the academy, who was in and around the first team picture for a while. He is a little bit more of a left back, but he's massive too, and I think he could play left side center back with no problems whatsoever. But I don't think that Armour is anywhere near good enough. Fredrickson obviously started some first team matches. I don't know if he's quite there yet, but maybe in another year he could be in and around the first. So we do have quite a few center backs in the squad personally. Let's see. Debas says, how much money are we going to get from Xerxes? Don't know. We'll see who comes in for him and what the situation is. Obviously, he's fit and he got some minutes. We brought him on recently when we needed a goal, which I don't have a problem with. I really like that. I was on Jarvis's channel the other night, big up Jarvis over at Tactical Devils, talking about one of the things I liked that Carrick did when we were chasing that goal against West Ham. Let's take off a defender, bring on some attackers, try to get that goal. That's the kind of risk I like to see from United managers. It's not about formation. It's not about counterattacking or necessarily even just about youth. It's that kind of quality that managers either have or they don't, where they're willing to take a risk. They're willing to maybe leave themselves a little exposed at the back if it means that we got to put ourselves in a better position to get a goal. And that's what I like to see from it. Dana says, yeah, we need competition regardless of Dorgu. Yeah, I wouldn't mind competition. I've got some competition I think could do really well. Hint, hint, spoiler alert, it's a player who has played for Carrick before and had some amazing assist numbers at Middlesbrough. So keep that in mind. Tobias says, can't wait for JJ's debut. I mean, if we were in the FA Cup still, he technically could have debuted, but obviously he didn't turn 15 in time. There is a cutoff point at the end of August where you have to be 15 by that in order to be registered for the Premier League, and he didn't make that deadline. So that's how the Premier League works. It's the same with the academy. I really wish the academy would do some sort of bio banding or some sort of developmental age, but they do it technically at birth date cutoff, which sometimes can mean very different things for academy players. It's really strange, but it is what it is. Jason says, nope, Shaw Maguire can go. Well, you asked me who we have. That just letting you know who we have. I agree. We should sell Shaw, personally. I don't have a problem with Maguire leaving, but again, if he leaves, or staying, but if he stays, then you've got 5. If he leaves, you've got 4. And then I do feel like maybe we could get another one. But again, I'm not going to go spend a ton of money to bring in like a 5th choice center back. A lot of it will have to do with De Ligt's fitness with this back issue. And that's the biggest question mark, which is also what makes me think maybe there's a little bit of a concern there if we're maybe talking about giving Maguire a new contract. What's the situation with De Ligt? That could be an issue. So I want to keep my eye on that. This whole back issue is a little interesting for De Ligt. I was reading an article just the other day recently, actually, about the connection between like growing pains in the academy level, like knee pain and stuff, and like those that you ever had growing pains? They're excruciating. I had them when I was younger. They're the worst in the world. Kind of feels like shin splints, but it's like all the time in your kneecaps. It sucks. Um, but there's a connection between that and then developing some back issues later on. I think it was like spars something was the back issue, and it was like Osgood Schaffer was the kneecap issue. But there's a correlation there, and so I was trying to figure out, did DeLitt have any sort of growing pains like that when he's in I couldn't find any information, but I'm curious. I'm always curious about stuff like that when I see those kind of correlations. But let's see here. Danny says, true of DeLitt, we might have to, yeah, and it might be needs must at this point. I think if we're prioritizing like a left winger, a fullback, and two center mids, I think that extending McGuire for a year, I think, does give us a little wiggle room, personally. Again, it wouldn't be ideal, wouldn't be my first decision. I'm just going by maybe possibilities of what I'm seeing movement-wise and rumor-wise. But it would give us a little bit of wiggle room, and then maybe, again, just pushing off that financial priority for another year in terms of center backs. But we've gone through the defending rebuild kind of under Ten Hag a little bit, and a little bit under Amorim with like guys like Yoro, Mazraoui, DeLitt, Licha, and whatnot. Then we went through the attacking overhaul this summer with Mbumo and Shesko and whatnot. Now I do think we need to prioritize that midfield. I would love to sell Dallo to JSN. He'd be top of my list to get rid of. I just don't think he's very good. And I'd probably just start Maz there, but I wouldn't mind bringing in someone from the academy like a Camason or a Montato to come and be a backup as well. But there's a lot of when you start deep in it, you're like, oh shoot, we have a lot of players, but not all of them are great, unfortunately. Big up Rich in the house. Will we buy a center back? If we extend McGuire's contract, I doubt that we will be buying a center back personally. I know Schlotterbeck's on the screen. We're just talking about the rumors. I don't really rate Build as a source personally, but we've also been linked to Pierre Kululu as well, and Federico DeMarco, who I like, but I think he is definitely more of an attack-minded wingback than a defensive-minded wingback. You can watch Kululu, but you're not going to be able to watch him for the next match, at least, because he did get a red card in their loss to Inter. For some reason, Kululu's been playing as a fullback, too, which is weird, because he's not a fullback. He's definitely a center back, but maybe it's one of those injuries, like Eric Martel at Cologne is playing center back, even though he's a defensive midfielder, because they've got a lot of injuries. That's going to happen sometimes. But big up, Rich. Good to see you, my friend. Somebody's out here talking about wives. Uh-oh. Let me see what we got here. You guys are funny. You guys, make sure you like and subscribe. Let's move on to some more news. Again, Build kind of just going crazy this weekend, but they, again, have linked us again to Cologne. Speaking of Cologne winger Said El Mala, mainly through the lens of he wants to leave Cologne this summer. 19 years old. We've been linked to him recently. Quite a few goal involvements, having a pretty decent little season. There are other wingers that I would look at before him. And again, I wouldn't mind a younger winger coming in and like rotating with Cunha a little bit, or maybe on those days where maybe Bruno can just rest, maybe Cunha can start as a 10. I think that he could definitely play as a 10. Someone who can rotate. If we look at young wingers, I do want someone who can be trusted to start maybe in some European matches, some domestic cup matches, some league matches as well. They'd have to be first team ready, kind of like Heaven was. If that makes sense. We don't have a ton of left wingers in the academy that are ready. Like JJ Gabriel's not going to be ready to come in and start right away. I need to see him play against some grown men for a little while, maybe send him off to Nice or something in a year or so and see how he does there. But let's see what you guys are saying. Danny's a big fan of Said El Mala. Probably watch a lot. He likes Mama too. Well, you guys are out here talking about wives. You're out here talking about mamas now. There are options out there. Like I would take Micah Goetz over El Mala personally. You can, if you want to know all about Micah Goetz over at Ajax, go check out my most recent scouting report. I did that just a couple days ago. In-depth look at what makes Micah Goetz very special. He's having an excellent season at Ajax, young Belgian. But who would you guys take? So if we're looking at left wingers, let's say you want someone to rotate with Cunha. Maybe Dorgu is going to be your left back, right, moving forward. because he can still bomb on as a left back. He can still make those underlaps and get into the box as well. He can go on those kind of runs. There's not a problem with that. He's not, just because you're a left back doesn't mean you're resigned to just in your own half. But who would you take as left wing? Because I'm looking at guys like Crescencio Somerville if West Ham get relegated. I'm looking at guys, like I said, of Micah Goetz as well. If Bahoya over at Frankfurt is another one I really like. A lot of good left wingers out there. If you know where to look, what would you guys go with? Sauer, yep, we did a scouting report on Sauer a few months back. If you guys remember, Feyenoord winger, doing very, very good, having a very good season as well. But Danny, we'll see. Danny likes Mama. Let me know who your left wing option would be if you were in charge, and you can have your say too on Wednesday if that's a position that you want to prioritize. It is a position that I've explored as well, but I'm always curious to see what you guys have to say. But you ever notice though that I think this can almost be its own algorithm, that there's like this inverse relationship between the reliability of a source like Build, for instance, and the amount of times United are linked to a player by that source. So again, inverse relationship just means as one goes up, the other goes down. So the more mentions you get of United, the downward the reliability gets. So it goes down and then up. It's just funny. So I think that we get linked to a lot. Obviously, it's nothing new for us as United fans, but I think that you can kind of tell when it's just random out of the blue kind of stuff. So what you're seeing a lot of this season too is people like bringing up like fresh news regarding a player, but throwing in old United links. So you always see like a player's contract situation, a player's drawing interest, and then they'll always add a paragraph or two of United have been linked to this player, like. Or the headline will be like reported United target or something. And really the links are old links from like 10 years ago or something. not like fully 10 years, but you get what I'm saying. Let's see. Danny's liking Ceballos. Is that the Ceballos that I did a scouting report on about a year and a half ago, if I remember correctly? Did he move to Boca from, I feel like it was from like Velez or something. I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, Debasi. Yeah, you guys know. I don't like to bash outlets, but I just think that it would make a lot of United fans and maybe just football fans, it would make their lives so much less frustrating if they just developed maybe a stricter filter, a mental block for sources. So I don't like Team Talk. I don't like Fakahe's Indicala. Obviously, is junk. There's a couple of new ones that keep popping up now that are just not great. Some new ones today, like I forget what it was today. I've seen it all over Twitter today, like linking Odegaard wanting to leave Arsenal, wanting to go to United. Like, it's the quickest way for me to mute you on Twitter when this kind of stuff keeps happening. And so you got to develop a little bit of a filter when it comes to this. There's a lot of other ones out there. I'm not going to go off in detail. You guys can I trust you guys to figure it out. But yeah, Saeed El Mala, another one that we've been linked with in the past. We'll see how it goes. Let me move on to some other news, because if you guys watched, I posted yesterday, but the under 18s had themselves a little bit of a Manchester Derby. They beat City 3-1, and it was really good. It was a bit back and forth. City were very, very aggressive. They pressed very, very high, pressed all over the pitch, but ultimately United did run out 3-1 winners, thanks to goals from J.J. Gabriel, Cheeto, and Jim Thwaite as well. I don't know if you guys pay attention to the Academy. We do some Academy stuff here on the channel. I have done some watch-alongs. I will do another Academy watch and a loan watch video, probably in the March international break. You guys know we like to fill those international breaks with stuff. But yeah, J.J. Gabriel and Cheeto combining really well for that first one. Cheeto then getting another one. Jim Thwaite scored this little beauty in a little bit of a late cameo. So I'm going to play this for you guys, but this was a beauty. I don't know if you guys can see that. Bend it like Thwaite, man. You watch this shit. This is great. We know that Thwaite has this in his locker too. He's done this many, many times. Woo! What? Did you see the curl on that thing? Did you see the curl on that? Let me rewind it again here. Go watch it again. This was a beauty. This was a thing of beauty, man. I love watching the Academy play sometimes. And we've seen them do this so many times already. Just there's nothing. I mean, the keeper completely takes himself out of the situation by shifting over. He must have thought that was going to the top corner on the right, but the amount of curl that Thwaite puts on that thing is just there's no keepers getting to that, man. Doesn't look like his injury hampered him too much, does it? But I think Cheeto looked good. I saw a new side to Cheeto's game. A lot of pressing, a lot of hustling. Usually he can be a little isolated. You can tell he wants to get involved, but usually he's kind of on his own until he gets the ball. And early in the season, you see Cheeto kind of dropping deep a lot to try to get involved, to try to just drop deeper to get closer to his teammates. This weekend, though, he was pressing a lot. He was putting a lot of pressure on City. He and JJ were really combining well to kind of force the ball. I mean, they won the ball several times and obviously it led to a couple goals. But I haven't seen him do enough of that. I'm glad to see him kind of adding another layer to his game. So big up Darren Fletcher. Really well done. Let's see. It's like Bex versus Everton. Yeah, it was an amazing it was an amazing free kick for real. Yeah, it was absolute fire, man. Thwaites has done that many times. He's like an expert at that. And this is why I'm not too worried about going and getting young midfielders. I mean, I do think that I don't know if I would trust all these guys necessarily. They're very young, but I do think we need a minimum two midfielders. I need an Ugarte upgrade, so someone who's a little bit physical, a bit more of a like kind of like the way like Norgard, like Arsenal picked up Norgard, a signing like that, who they're not going to play every single match, but like probably going to pay maybe 15 to 20 appearances total all season, maybe, or starts, probably a lot of subs, but someone like that. And so I do have someone in mind, free transfer. We'll talk about that on Wednesday, though. Yeah, it is a bit of a boring week, but that's why we're trying to make it interesting. I do have the final episode of season 4 of What If that I'll be recording later on today, so keep a lookout for that one. Dylan and I are doing our 200 million rebuild on the Kickabout on Wednesday, so keep a lookout for that as well. We got the preview for the Everton match, because the Everton match is not until Monday, which, yikes. Probably meet up with Dylan to watch that at a pub. Device says that was messy. Yeah, it was a very good free kick. Big up Jarvis in the house. Beckham mess. Yeah, the Waits has definitely got that in his locker. He's got a very good curl on him, man. Let's see here. Orozco too. Yeah, we got Orozco. Kone's out on loan, although he's not getting many minutes. I mean, it's only been a couple matches, so I'm not freaking out. But again, the most important part about these youngsters going out on loan is getting minutes. And so he got like 10 something minutes recently for Lausanne. Neither he or Kanabayek got minutes today, which is really frustrating, but it is what it is. The boss says at least the training videos have me hooked. Yeah, did we get some winning team photos? No, those usually we only get those after a loss, right? But yeah, big up the under 18s, big up the women's team. They went 7 in a row with a big 2-1 win over London City Lionesses today. Jess Park scored an absolute worldie. It was almost a carbon copy of the goal that Cunha scored, the winner that he scored against Arsenal. Grabbed the ball on the left-hand side, cut centrally across the channel, rip a shot from outside the box, far post. It was perfect. Jess Park has been one of the signings of the season for us, in my opinion, if you guys watching. She's just such a good little midfielder. Kind of like a free run, kind of like Bruno in a sense. Little, not as good of a passing range, but she's definitely got a shot. She definitely gets involved. I do like the look of her. She's a very good player. But big up Jarvis, big up everyone jumping in the house. Has the Arsenal bottle job officially started this season? Following their 1-1 draw with Brentford, I don't know if you guys watched that. They looked a little shaky, a little lacking confidence. If I do say so myself, I don't think that they looked as amazing as they have. Not that they look amazing, but just dominant. Maybe the nerves are kicking in with some of the behavior we've been seeing from them, kicking the ball out of play in frustration. They're playing, and even Arteta to an extent, they're playing like they hear footsteps, right? And we've seen this from Arsenal many times. Arteta having to go about, referees and whatnot. Arsenal players having to go at the refs because, Raya's getting a little pushed on set pieces, as if Arsenal haven't been doing that all season. They're just so shady, man. They are just 4 points ahead of City right now, who City haven't lost in nearly a month. They've only dropped points once since then in that 2-2 draw against Spurs. City do have a nice little run of games coming up, as well as they prep for back-to-back fixtures against Chelsea and Arsenal in April. So if City can get some big points from these next run of fixtures before they have to play Chelsea and Arsenal, and I think if City win both of those matches against Arsenal, because that's a big 6-pointer against Arsenal. If City do that, Arsenal aren't winning shit this season. I'm telling you right now, Arsenal are playing like they hear footsteps, and I'm here for it. Injected in my veins. I love it, man. Their fans are starting to learn a little bit as well. I was watching Talksport this weekend. There's fans their fans are already feeling it too, because there's a fan that called in and basically saying like Declan Rice is not good enough. He's part of the problem, and I'm like, oh, the unraveling is beautiful, man. It's like that's a spectator sport in itself now. Just watching this Arsenal bottle job. You remember they were at the top of the league for 84% of the season not that long ago and still managed to not win it. This is ours. There's way more evidence to suggest that Arsenal will bottle the league than they're going to win it. Like that's just the way it is. And so I don't have faith that they're going to do anything. If City go on a run and if City win that match against Arsenal, I think this league is City, because 4 points is nothing. 4 points is absolutely nothing. All it's going to take is another draw for Arsenal, another win for City. And City have a good run of fixtures coming up. Dubai says Arsenal have Spurs soon. Yeah, oh, that would be so sweet. Oh, that would be amazing. I see Forest also have a new manager, Vitor Pereira. Are we taking bets on him making it to the end of the season? Because Marinakis is just trying to break records. He's like, we can't break any records on the pitch. We'll just break them by sacking managers. This is their 5th manager now this season, which is the record. I can't, like, that club is a joke. That owner is an absolute joke. Like there's different levels to owners being jokes. Like obviously the Glazers are a joke for some reasons. Ineos and Sir Jim are jokes for him. Like this Marinakis guy, he's up like he's trying to be Roman Abramovich, but he's just so bad at it. Oh man. Then you got Todd Bowley, who just doesn't have a Scooby what he's doing. He's just, what's this? Is this player, we gonna buy this player? Are they like a teenager? Cool, let's get him. Go get him. But yeah, Vitor Pereira, is he the guy who can save Forest from relegation? Because they are not too far above West Ham, who are putting together a little bit of a fight. Spurs, Igor Tudor, he's known for saving teams from getting relegated. Can he be the solution? He's probably not going to be the manager next year. I would have thought De Zerbi coming in. Don't sleep on Glasner maybe going to Spurs too. Maybe that could be, he can look at that as a step up, but I don't know, man. It's a big step up from Brentford to Spurs. Maybe it's a bigger step up from Palace to Spurs, but who knows, man. Marseille fans are crazy too. I don't know if you guys seen any of that stuff. You know what we haven't done in a while, you guys? Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe too. Check out the memberships too, because this little next bit involves memberships. We haven't done a question from a boot in a while, and I just realized that. I've been so busy, I completely forgot about questions from a boot. But remember, starting 11 and Legends members, you can contribute to questions from a boot. Now, today's question from a boot, it's not technically from a boot. It is and it isn't. So I got my computer fixed recently. I had to get a new hard drive, but when I did that, I didn't realize I had to reconnect it to the printer, which is a wireless printer. So the question did not get printed because I forgot until just before going live, but I have it on the computer. So let me put this question from a boot up, you guys. This is today's question from a boot. So I want you guys to get your answers in. Remember, starting 11 and Legends members, you get to like contribute with your suggestions for questions for the future shows as well. But I want to know this from you guys. Who would you pick as the most underrated player in the Premier League right now? Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Who is the most underrated player in the Premier League right now this season? Who would you say? I didn't even have an answer for this, so we can all brainstorm this together. Let me put this over on the little screen while we're doing this. But let's brainstorm. Who's the most underrated player in the Premier League right now? Maybe is it like Igor Thiago? Is that a good shout? I think that's a good. He's having a pretty good season right now. I don't think he's up there with Mbumo in terms of quality, or maybe even Tony at his best, but I think he's in with a shout, right? Having a good season. The Bossy says Spurs don't have any issues being relegated. They just want to stop Arsenal. I think that would be Spurs' biggest win of the season if they could just stop Arsenal, put a damper on that. But who is your pick for the most underrated player in the Premier League right now? Let me see. Off the top of my head, I'm going maybe Igor Thiago. He's got 17 goals in the league, an assist. 18 goals in all comps. He's having a very, 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 very good season. You don't hear him talk about a whole lot that right now, though. I think, Brentford are quietly just kind of doing their thing. But he would probably be in there with a shout. Who else? Maybe Van Hecke. I think Van Hecke is probably not get as much plaudits as I think he should. I think he's an excellent, excellent player personally. Jarvis is probably going to throw out Sanderberg. Jarvis, is it Berga or is it Burge? Let me know. Because I've heard it pronounced both ways, and I'm always curious. But yeah, Igor Thiago is probably going to be my pick. Dabasi agrees. Yeah, he's probably up there. I can't think of any more off the top of my head, if I'm being completely honest. There was a second there where maybe I would have said João Pedro, but he's kind of fallen off a cliff. Yarmouk, Siddiqui, Van Hecke. Yeah, I listed them recently. Obviously, we did the Casemiro replacements, and I listed them briefly in that video, if you guys remember, because I do want to see more of a sample size. They're both young, obviously. Especially Siddiqui, this is like his first kind of like season, really. So I want to see more of them. They're a little young. If they came in, like, let's say if there was someone that we were looking at, they would be my backup to like whoever we signed to replace Casemiro. So it'd be like Elliot Anderson, and then like Siddiqui, Yarmouk, Ayari, another one I really like the look of. Maybe I want to see a little bit more of them. Van Hecke, yeah, Burge. You know who else is having a good season? I was watching the other day is Chalampos Castulas at Brighton as well. Really good, kind of energetic, kind of 10. He's not a straight up playmaker like Bruno, kind of picking passes and whatnot. He is definitely more mobile, but he's looking really good. We were linked with him, I feel like, about a year or so ago, but he's having a really good season. Damsgaard, yeah, Damsgaard had a really, I think like last year, Damsgaard had a really good season at Brentford. I don't know if he's been injured. I saw him come on as a sub recently for Brentford, but he's good. I remember he had a good World Cup as well, if you guys remember, and that's where I think I started to take notice of him. Obviously, went to Brentford, doing very, very well. Yeah, there's a few of them. It's good to get your thoughts in on who you think is the most underrated player in the Premier League this season so far. So I'm sticking with Igor Thiago because he's just not getting as you're not seeing a whole lot about him, but he's banging in goals. I mean, 17 goals in the league is very good right now, and the season's only what 2/3 of the way done. But good seasons, good. You guys are making some good suggestions in here as well. Then he says Doof, yeah, Doof. I think obviously we kind of went quiet because he was at AFCON, and so we kind of didn't hear a whole lot from him. I like Ismail Assar. I think Ismail Assar is having a good. He's looking really good since he's kind of been turned into a little bit of a 9, similar to like Ousmane Dembele. How he's the right winger, and then he's kind of been playing as a 9. But I mean, Ismail Assar is having a decent little season. Obviously, Palace are not doing great, but since he joined Palace, he's actually been pretty good. But this season, I'm definitely going to go with Igor Thiago. But what are you going to do? But yeah, get involved. If you're not able to catch the live, leave your thoughts in the comments as well. But yeah, questions from Abu. We brought it back today because I just honestly completely forgot. It's been a very busy couple of weeks for me. Trying to put together a lot of things, trying to do a lot of things at once, a lot of stuff going on outside of the channel and whatnot. So it's been a bit of a struggle just balancing it all and making time for everything. But had some time today, saw some news, wanted to get you guys' thoughts on a lot of it. So you guys know I can't stay away for too long, but that's pretty much it. It's like I said, it's been a very slow news week, not a whole lot. Like I said, I don't rate Build too highly as a source, but it's interesting just to get you guys' thoughts on some of the players that we've been linked with, some of the priorities in terms of position for the summer. So it's always nice to see. There's another good question. Devasi's got another one. Most overrated. Oh, who is the most overrated player in the league this one? So what do you mean by overrated? Like a player that everybody thinks is great, or every player that everyone like just can't stop talking about? I'm trying to think now off the top of my head. I think maybe Gabriel at Arsenal is a bit overrated because every match I've watched Arsenal play, Gabriel makes a mistake that either leads to a goal or it leads to an opportunity, like a chance for the opposition. So I don't think Gabriel is as good as Arsenal fans like to think he is personally. He's always got a mistake in him from what I've seen, and so there's that. I don't think Emi Martinez is as good as a lot of people think, and I've said that over the summer. So I put up the numbers to compare him even to Onana. Danny says Colo Puana. You got Lauren's saying Bruno and Rice. You can't be talking about our Bruno. You got to be talking about somebody else like Bruno Guimaraes, because Bruno is definitely, and if anything, Bruno is underrated by the vast majority of football fans. If Bruno is world class, he's absolutely world class. Rice, I actually really like Rice. I don't think he's, again, you take it when it's an Arsenal player, you got to take it with a grain of salt, because Arsenal are just going to gas up. They're literally, Arsenal fans glaze everything Arsenal related right now. But yeah, Rice is a decent shout. Kolo Muani is another. Do people like, I haven't seen a whole lot of people rate Kolo Muani a lot personally. I forgot he was at Spurs, honestly, until recently. But yeah, I'm going to go Gabriel Arsenal, because I just don't think he's as good as people say he is personally. But I think every time I watch him, he's got a mistake in him. And so what you going to do? Please don't forget, today is the final day to get 25% off the UVE store. I did put a link in the chat as well. It's pinned. Go check that out if you want 25% off. You can get something like Boom, the UVE, the OG green and gold. We got mugs too. You guys have seen me rock my Fergie time mug too. I drink from this all the time. That's there's mugs, there's hats, there's beanies, there's hoodies, there's everything in there, guys. Go check it out. Device says all hype, no noise. Wirtz, yeah, don't get me started on Florian Wirtz. That could be a good shout too. Van Diklis, he's always overrated. I think that the way he defends sometimes is very just cowardly. I mean, he's decent at not rushing in, but he's delays stepping in so long that by the time he does anything, the player gets a shot off, and then he's looking around at every one of his teammates trying to point fingers and stuff. I just think Van Diklis is a bit overrated personally. Garnacho, the people, I mean, maybe at first when they signed Garnacho, Chelsea fans were glazing him. I think even now Chelsea fans it didn't take long for Chelsea fans to realize that what they bought personally. Garnacho needs to go someplace else and play. I don't think the Premier League is for him personally. I think maybe he could do well in the Bundesliga. Maybe maybe he can go to RB Leipzig, maybe replace Jan Diamande or something. But yeah, you guys are funny. So, but guys, please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We are so close to 3K subs, not that far away. I would love to get there. If not a problem, but please do me a favor. Make sure you like, subscribe, hype the videos, please. Leave your thoughts in the comments if you weren't able to catch the live. I'm going to go record this final episode of What If Season 4, because again, it's been so busy. So we'll get to it though. But until next time, you guys, take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We will see you this week later on for obviously the kickabout as well. Keep a lookout for the episode of What If too. But until next time, you guys, take it easy. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you guys later.